guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is TheSketchMonkey here. I'm back at Winslow BMW to have a look at this gorgeous purple. I love this color. I hope it comes up on camera now that the sun comes out. You can see just how beautiful this color is on this 2023 Ford Mustang Mach 1. I do love this design, and the Mach 1 has been sort of coming in and back and forth in the lineup of Fords. We don't have it for the 2024 model year yet, so this might, who knows, it might be the last Mach 1. There is some special features when it comes to the design compared to normal GTs that we're gonna have a look at in this video, from a front, side, rear, the interior, and then we're gonna take this for a drive. Let's have a look at some of the basic spec and tech of the 2023 Ford Mustang Mach 1. You have a 5-liter V8 putting out 470 horsepower, 410 pound-feet of torque, connected to a Tremec 6-speed manual transmission. All that power is sent to the rear wheels. 0 to 60 takes 3.9 seconds, top speed of 170 miles per hour. Fuel economy comes in at 14 city, 22 highway, and the price for this is $62,991. Now, this is a pretty interesting Mustang to me, this generation, the facelift, the S550, because I think what Ford did here is move away from the pony muscle car design and way more into the sports car territory with this design. I actually made a redesign on this specific model, the Mach 1, way back, and in that redesign I wanted to make it more into a muscle car vibe on this design. So have this, the grille, for example, be in line with the headlights and not have everything be so sloping like we have on sports cars. And I think this still looks very good as a sports car, but as a Mustang, I'm really glad to see what they did with the 2024 model year, when they basically did exactly what I wanted to do in the redesign, was turn it into more of a static, horizontal, vertical styling in the front end and more of this muscle car, pony car feel. So what separates this, the Mach 1, from a normal 5-liter GT of this generation? Well, first of all, starting at the bottom, you have this big lip at the bottom, sticking out very far with these two horns on it, looking very cool. Again, it feels like it's just hugging the road better when you have something like this at the very bottom of the front end. Moving up top, we do have this blacked out grille with the blacked out mesh and the blacked out logo in the center. These holes here look like some styling feature, then that's it, but they're actually functional. If you want to, you can remove this patch here, so if you need more cooling for a track day, for example, you can just open this up and bring more air into the engine itself. Very cool. And looking at the headlights themselves, you do have these 3 LEDs, typical Mustang style for this type of lighting design. These were actually vents back in the day in the 60s in this area, but now they're kind of morphed into the headlight unit and created these 3 LEDs that we're so used to seeing by now from Ford Mustangs. Another detail that of course sets the Mach 1 apart from the normal GT is the graphics that we have. I do love the Mach 1 font here, brings back that 69 style and vibe in the graphics with the very thin white outline of the graphics on the hood, but it doesn't continue up onto the roof, and I think that's a good idea because the hoods of Mustangs in the past have been very special. So I think just keeping the graphics and these extractors on the hood itself and not extending it onto the roof, it's a good idea, and I think it suits this car. And I'm just in love with this color, this very, very deep purple that we have in this specific unit. Coming around to the side view of the 2023 Ford Mustang Mach 1, and there are a couple of things here that I would also like to redesign and change when it comes to the line flow. I do like this shoulder line, very sharp shoulder, and then it fades into the front fender and also fades back here into the rear fender. And what this does is just creates this illusion of muscle over both axles, and it looks proper muscle car-y and Mustang style to me. However, the lower section, you can see the line that goes in the lower section of the body in line with this white graphics coming back from the hood. You have this line at the bottom being straight. So what I want to do in this area here to bring back some of that old style, or even the S197 Mustang that goes up here. So I want to have a hockey stick curvature to this design, because I think here we have 2 parallel lines and creates a bit of a static feel for this design. So just adding some curvature right here like we have in the Mustang that came out in 2010, I think that would suit this design and add a little bit more of an interesting surface treatment for the side view of the Mustang. Now, the reason that I do love the 2024 Mustang design is if you look at the side view here and how fast or strongly this front end slopes down, this is what I'm talking about when it creates a sports car look for this generation Mustang. I think Ford probably had a meeting. They said, what are we doing with the Mustang? What's the soul of our Mustangs? It's not to be a sports car, it's more to be more in line with muscle cars. So that's exactly what they did with the 2024. They straightened this out, they straightened the graphics in the front end out as well, and it creates more of an aggressive, more of a traditional looking style for the Mustang. When we talk about the wheels and tires, we do have 255 tires in the front, we have 275s in the rear end. Both of these are 19-inch wheels. I do like the wheel design here, even though these are pretty dark, they're not completely black, so you can still appreciate the design itself of the spokes and the wheels that we have on this specific Mach 1. Coming around to the 3/4 rear view of the 2023 Mustang Mach 1, this is a case where the same thing goes here as it does in the front end. I do prefer the non-facelift Mustang of this generation because here they added more styling to the design, and I don't think more styling necessarily suits the Mustang. I did prefer the old, the pre-facelift to just have straight bars, for example, for the LEDs up here. Then you can see they have the deck lid here with the Mach 1 in the middle. Moving further down, we do have a proper bumper, something that is slowly but surely going away on cars. I'm glad that we still have that in this generation Mustang. And I think, for me, the best view of the Mustang Mach 1 is gonna have to be the 3/4 rear view for one specific reason. So the reason I prefer the 3/4 rear view over any other view of this Mustang is, first of all, the front end to me looks too sporty for a Mustang. The side view still looks good. In the back, you have this fastback design that we have from the 1967. One of my favorite cars ever made is a 1967 Mustang fastback, and this sloping roofline has a similar style to that. But the reason I do prefer the tail end of this as my favorite view is because if you look all the way down, you do have the big quad bazooka tailpipes that sound absolutely fantastic with this 5-liter V8. And in the middle, you see the diffuser there, that is taken straight from the GT500. So we do have some very cool design features in the back, both graphically, and I also think that overall, with the separation of the bumper from the top half of the graphics and the lower section, it just comes together in a nice way, and it's a really nice looking rear end, even though I do prefer the pre-facelift in this case. Welcome to the almost perfect interior of the 2023 Ford Mustang Mach 1. This interior is just absolutely incredible to me. They nailed it right here in 2023, and then they decided to go with the trend in 2024, and I don't understand what happened with the interior for the 2024 model year. It just doesn't make sense to me to remove all the historic features that we have here. For example, the weirdest thing is, if you look at the Ford Mustang Mach-E, the electric SUV version of the Mustang, even that car has these two waves, one for the passenger over here, one for the driver, and this is also the cap for the housing, the cap for the gauge cluster, as you can see. But they completely removed that even in the proper Mustang for 2024 and instead added two big screens. I don't understand why, because this has been a part of Mustang interiors ever since the first 1965 Mustang. So it's a shame that they removed that for the 2024 model. But let's talk about this and what makes this interior so great. First of all, as I said, we do have these historical pieces right here in the styling of this car, and we also have a pretty decent size and decently integrated infotainment screen here. There's nothing crazy going on here. If you want to, you can adjust the climate control settings with the touchscreen, the temperature, the fan speed, where you want the air to blow from, the heated steering wheel, and so on. Or you can do it down here. So you have the option of doing it in the screen, which I have no idea what anyone would pick that instead of just quickly change the stuff down here for the climate control settings. And look at this, the size of this feels pretty great as well. And it is, as I said, properly integrated in the dash because it's not oversized like all the screens we have today. Up here you have the vacuum gauge, and you also have the oil pressure gauge integrated right next to these round vents. I do like the styling up here. It has this sort of retro feel and vibe to it. It looks beautiful. Further down you do have the radio settings, the volume control, the volume knob. Let's see what's on the radio right now. Never heard that before, but the sound system sounds pretty good. And as I said, these toggles for the climate control settings, you have this toggle here up and down for the temperature. Very easy to just feel what it is you're doing, because the temperature toggle is very different from the fan speed. The fan speed is adjusted in sideways, the temperature control is adjusted up and down, and that's good design to me. That means that you can feel your way to what you're doing instead of taking your eyes off the road. Further down, you do have these toggles looking like a, you know, fighter jet style. With these toggles down here. First of all, you have the start button right here, then you have the hazards, you have the traction control on and off, you have the steering feel if you want it in, let's see what we got, comfort and normal. We do have a sport setting as well. I was a little surprised there. I thought I was never gonna see the sport come up. Then of course you have the drive modes right here, normal, sport plus, or race. And last but not least, you have the drive mode. So you have normal, you have sport plus, you have track, and you also have something called drag strip, and also snow and wet. I'm gonna keep it in normal for now as we record this. I'm gonna put it in Sport Plus when we go and take this for a drive, obviously. And you also have two USB here and a 12-volt outlet, some rubberized material here to put your phone. And in this case, this Mach 1 comes with a Tremec 6-speed manual transmission, and what a great shifter this is. This is the same one that you get in the GT350. Just feels absolutely fantastic. I do love the retro design of this as well, with the white ball on top. Very short shifts, just an amazing gearbox. I can't wait to take this out on the for a drive in just a minute. Then you have the two cup holders here, pretty large cup holders. You also have some nice ambient lighting in them, and you have a proper old school e-brake right here. Totally fine for me. Looking at these seats, you have Recaro seats, looking very sporty as you want in a Mach 1, with the Recaro embroidered in the backrest. You also have these holes if you want to add some racing harnesses and stuff in these seats, you can do that. The bolstering is totally fine, and these are actually manually adjustable, so you don't have power adjustable seats in the Mach 1. But again, that's totally fine for me, because how often are you going to adjust your seats? You're basically just going to do it once and just have it in the same position, unless you have 50 drivers driving your car. Moving on to the steering wheel, and what a great design of a steering wheel this is. This brings back some 70s, some 60s and some 70s vibe into this design, with the pony in the middle, the horse Mustang logo. You don't have the Ford logo here. You have the Mustang here, you have Mach 1 up here, the chassis number as well. On the right side, you have all the controls for the gauge cluster. So the center screen, you can do whatever you want with it and show whatever information you want with these buttons right here. You also have the phone and navigation buttons here, and the different settings for the setup, for example, exhaust mode and shift indicators and so on. You can customize that with these buttons on the right side. On the left side, all the controls for the radio and the cruise control settings. What I love about this gauge cluster, this is one of the best looking gauge clusters I have ever seen in my life, because we do have a very traditional looking integration, the housing for it, but it's all digital. And the thing is, when you change your drive modes here, let's just go out of this. Let's see if I can go back to the normal screen. If you have it in normal, you have a tachometer rounded to the left, speedometer to the right, round. Very nice and very classic look. And then if you go into, for example, Sport Plus, it changes. So now the tachometer becomes this bar or curve above the entire screen, looking fantastic. And let's have a listen to this V8 real quick. Just sounds absolutely fantastic, this car. And I wish they would have just kept this, just keep the exact same style that you have in the 2023. I wish they would have kept some of these features in the 2024 model, but with that, you know, you can't have everything you want in life. On the left side, you have the controls for the light settings, and you also have a small little compartment here for, I'm not sure, this looks like it was designed to house 4 markers. I think that's what they thought of when they designed this. Up top, we don't have any sunroof. This is a Mach 1. Who cares about the sunroof? It's all about the driving. Looking at the doors, it's very black, this specific spec. So everything is black. You have the white stitching and some aluminum pieces for the door handle and the grab handle as well. Pretty standard looking door. There's not a lot going on there, but we do have a proper size glove box in the interior of the Mach 1. Okay guys, it's time to set off in a future legend, the 2023 Ford Mustang Mach 1. I wonder if they're gonna make a Mach 1 for the this generation, the next generation, the newest generation, 2024 model year. It's not gonna be the same though because of the interior. Simple as that. I just 100% prefer this interior so much more than the 2024. But you knew that already. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna continue to whine about it. What do we have under the hood here? We do have a 5-liter. Of course, it's a 5-liter V8, putting out 470 horsepower. The weird thing is, what Ford did, when this Mach 1 first came out, oh, we got the shift lights up there as well. Oh, I love a big V8, it sounds so good. The weird thing is, when this first came out in 2021, Ford put 480 horsepower. It did, you know, in the first year, and then today for 2023, you get 470. So they dropped it by 10 horsepower. I wonder why they did that. It's just a weird thing to do, I would guess. You know, we're gonna start it with 480 and then just drop it a couple of years later to 470. But it does 0 to 60 in about 3.8, 3.9 seconds, and I do miss the Mustangs. I used to have a 2012 GT. I love that car. It was such a fun car to drive, even though it was a little sketchy when, for example, you're going fast on a big bridge or something like that, where you have these gaps in the road. Since it was a solid rear axle and you took corners a little too quickly at high speeds, you could feel the rear end just kind of bounce all around. So it wasn't really great handling in that car, but that was not what was so fun about it. It was the noise, the power, and you know, just the muscle car feel in a modern car that I love about these Mustangs. And the gear shifts on the down, the rev matching on the downshift just sounds fantastic as well. I love this gearbox. It's one of the best 6-speed manuals I think I've ever experienced. It's just so tight and it feels so confident. It has one job, that is to shift gears, and it does that very, very well. Going into this traffic circle into second, and then we're gonna just get out of this traffic circle as it was on fire. Oh, that noise. So I stepped into this car right after reviewing the BMW M2 CS, and there are such completely different cars when it comes to pretty much everything. They're both two-door, both rear-wheel drive with plenty of power, but this is just it feels like such a much bigger vehicle, which it also is. I mean, the M2 CS is just a small little go-kart, while this is just not, of course, not as refined as the M2 CS. It's just brute force. That's what this is all about. How can we sum the Mustang Mach 1 2023? How can we sum it up? I think we can just sum it up with that. Just the noise of this 5-liter V8. Now we do have the dark horse coming out for 2024 with 500 horsepower and an exterior styling that I think is going back to what a Mustang should look like. Not this overstyled, not overstyled, that's the wrong word, I take that back, but not this sports car styling that we have in, for example, this generation. As I said, it still looks great. It's a great looking car. But is it a Mustang? I don't think so, but I do think that the new 2024 model is definitely a Mustang when it comes to the exterior design. Huge thanks again to Winslow BMW for providing this beautiful deep purple Mustang Mach 1 for me to review for you guys today. If you're interested in this car or any other car on their inventory, just go to winslowbmw.com and check them out. I'm going to link that down in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.